Hi, and welcome back to the Ravioli podcast. On this episode, I'll be going through some questions for you to get to know me better because honestly, guys, I've been really tired this week. I've not been sleeping well, and it's been reflecting on my daily productivity and my daily motivation. Like, I'm getting things done because I have to for college and for my personal stuff, but I just like surviving right now. I'm not doing the things that I do because I want to. I've also noticed that there are some new people here on the pod, so I think it's a good time for you to listen to some of the answers I have to the questions so you can know me better, you can know my opinions, or just they are not really deep questions, they are just things that are random, but you can view me as a friend of yours. And I also like to answer these. I don't have to think too much. And I didn't want to record an episode that was themed because I already have two more episodes prepared, but I want to be in my fullest state of mind before I record them. And I figured this was the best solution. So let's start. The first question is, who is your hero? The idols when we were kids, like I had so many friends, like girlfriends that had like an idol, like a singer or an actor or something. And as a child, I never had like someone that I view or him like a god, but I guess I would pick my father because he's like, I'm not even kidding, like I cannot explain this, but I know some close friends agree with me. Like, I've never seen someone so pure, like with a heart so pure, and like he does, like he's perfect. Like sometimes I can see flaws in him because he does like everything for me, but at the same time, of course, he's strict with some other things because he's a parent, so he has to educate me, and he gives good advice, but he is also like so funny with a really good like sense of humor, and like he does everything for my mother and I, and also for other people that we care of, like my grandma, like the mother of my mother. Like, he's so found, and everything he does, he's not expecting something in return. I don't know. So I guess he's my hero because I want to be that. I want to do good in this world and be good to other people every day. The second question is, if you could live anywhere, where would it be? So right now, I wouldn't live in Portugal. I'm living in Portugal, but if I could choose, I wouldn't be here. And I guess I would prefer going to like a major city rather than a small city, even if it was outside Portugal, because I'm in my early 20s, so I guess I have energy and I have like a social and work battery that I can cooperate with a lot of movement in the city, rush, busy people like in the streets. I think I can deal with that right now. And I need that kind of, shaking in my life. Is that feeling that I need to be distracted all the time because I think I'm going through a early 20s crisis. And I think I'm going to do a podcast, like an episode on that, because I've never thought about so many things like I did this year. Like, I feel my brain is never stopping. Like, I feel that he's always like overthinking like all the fucking time, and I get exhausted by that. What is your biggest fear? My biggest fear is death, I guess. I have also an episode on this, but it's in Portuguese, so maybe when I'm in a better state of mind, I'll do another one in English. but I've been into a psychologist when I was a child because of this fear. It comes from when I was like, I don't know, 12 or something. Also, I have some close people, like close family members, dying when I was a child. It started with my grandfather, and we were really close. So I started like just questioning myself. What does in fact happen when you die? Like, do you feel anything? Do you see something like a vision or something? Is it too painful? Yeah, I don't know. Of course, it also depends how you die. I know that, but like, because I don't believe in life. I don't believe in life after death. Is it possible? I don't know. I'm really afraid of uncertainty in general. So this is one of those cases. And the other thing is like, if I die without doing at least almost everything I want to, or like die young or something. Yeah, I'm going to another topic. This is getting morbid. What is your favorite family vacation? It's when I went to Italy with my parents and we spent like 8 days there, just going through a lot of cities. And we were on the bus and I was reading my book and I was like sightseeing the Toscana landscapes, and the vibe was so good. And we went with other people and there were some funny people in the group, and I was like always laughing, and that's something I really prioritize in my life. Like, I have to have good laughs at least in summer, because I remember that when I was a child, I was always laughing. Like, it was not always, but when I laughed, like I would pee my pants. So that's also why I talked about my father. Like, I just in such a, like, even if I'm in a bad humor, I feel sick to my bones because I'm like so like vivid, whatever. What would you change about yourself if you could? The biggest thing I would like to change about myself is my body image, like my body dysmorphia. I would like that not to be like a dysmorphia, and to be I would just like to be like normal and feel normal when I look into a mirror, or when I'm dressing up to get out of my house, when I'm meeting other people, not to be always like judging how I'm looking to others. Like, I'm always doing that, and I guess this is a process that will take time, and maybe it will never end, and I will be like this my whole life, I guess. I don't know. I just got used to do that. If you could go back in time, what year would you travel to? I have so many options right now. I would change so many things about my past. I know a lot of people think like I wouldn't change anything back then because that's how I am now. Like, I learned from those things. Of course, I learned from the shitty things that happened to me. That doesn't mean that I did in fact like to go through that shitty things. So I would change a lot of things in my past, but one of them was going back to my gymnastic years, because like when I was there because I guess as well as I have to go to school, I also have to practice a sport. So that was just kind of my mindset when I was there. Of course, I was also little, but when I gave up gymnastics, I started regretting my decision. And like 2 or 3 years later, I was like, I wish I could go back. And now I still feel the same. So, yeah. What's your favorite type of foreign food? My favorite type is Italian. I guess that's basic. I haven't tried every foreign food yet, and I've never will, because there are so many countries in this world. But considering like Italian, Chinese, Indian, like with curry and spices and all of that, American, if I consider like fast food, Still, I prefer pasta and pizza rather than, I don't know, burgers, hot dogs, chips. But I really like Portuguese food, but I would choose pizza first, so I go with Italian. What was your favorite subject in school? Geography. Like, I had two phases. The first one was geography, but then I stopped having it, so I had to figure out what was my favorite subject. Then I've always loved geography. I've always loved to know like common knowledge, to know things that are going on with the world or just history, but also like more as facts in the present. So geography again. I also had one geography teacher. I had like three, but one of them was really good. But then, as I said, I stopped having geography. So my other favorite subject was Portuguese. I think it was also because of the teacher. She was a really good teacher. Like, she motivated us, like she just challenged our way of thinking so good. Back then I've always loved to read books, so I liked the subject because we could also like read and understand and discuss the texts. What's the most unusual thing you've ever eaten? Insects, because one friend of mine, her dad used to work like abroad, like he used to travel for work, and sometimes he went to China and other Asian countries, and they have like snacks, like we have chips or something. They have insects with like, they are crunchy with salt and all of that, and they are packed in small packages, so it's like something you sell on supermarkets. It's normal. And he brought some from there, and when I was at her home, we like, she asked us if we wanted to try, and everyone was like, no, what the heck, that's disgusting. And I also thought that it was disgusting, but still I wanted to try, and it was disgusting. It was not disgusting in terms of flavor because it tasted like salt, so it was like eating chips more or less, but you were eating like an insect with all the parts that it means eating an insect. So it was pretty awful. If you had a warning label, what would yours say? Don't get upset with me if I'm on my period. I cannot even deal with me when I'm on my period. Like, I get tired, I get just desperate with myself because my attitude, my thoughts, they are either depressing, rages, like I can't. And you can feel that I'm getting close to that days, I guess. So that was my warning, like, please don't get upset because this is not the real me. On a scale of 1 to 10, how funny would you say you are? I think I'm pretty funny when we are like having a meeting, having dinner, we are just hanging out, partying, whatever. I always try to lead things to a joke, or I make just small jokes, but also like in my life, I try to see the funny things rather than like just the truth. I tend to make jokes about my own life in my head so I can survive. And also, like, at home, I was always like used to hear jokes, but they were just like, making fun of things the way they are naturally. They were not like too forced. There are always jokes on the table, and I like that. I like that environment. I don't like it to be too serious, but also I don't like it to be too goofy in a way that it starts hurting people and it doesn't make sense anymore. I would say I'm a 6, between a 6 and a 7, because I also have those days of the month that I'm not funny at all. I guess that's it. I hope it was not too boring. If you want to be updated with everything I do every day, all the time, just follow me on Instagram. It's linked here in the description below. Also, I have an Instagram for the pod, so It's called Ravioli Podcast. You can also follow because that's where I update everything related to the pod, and I also do some other engagement content that are funny, dynamic. Thank you again, and we'll talk next week. Bye.